is the story specialist especially special. This one's written by Deedra Nichole, and I want to get the audience to understand why people should read Deedra Nichole's stories.
Oh, I'm special too. I just spilled everything. I'll get it cleaned up by the time we get started.
Alrighty, let's roll the credits.
Everyone thinks because you're a zombie, you don't know good coffee. Well, they're wrong. There's only one brew that gets my seal of approval. Deadly Grounds coffee is my guilty pleasure. The aroma is so intoxicating. It brings all of my neighbors out of the woodwork. Deadly Grounds coffee. Coffee to die for and zombie approved. It's good to get a little deadly. Use the front door! Oh, they're so disgusting.
The Dorkening and all affiliated shows are not intended for anyone under the age of 18. The following may contain discussions or scenes that have adult situations, graphic violence, nudity, strong sexual content, and graphic language. This show is intended for mature audiences only. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello, my lovelies, and welcome back to another episode of Corpse Garden Chronicles. And we are blessed today because we get RZ that way. Am I pointing at you?
You are now, according to my screen. How about according to your screen?
I'm not sure. And we get to have Pyle with us tonight. I am so grateful you're here.
And I'm so grateful no one's seen me pour that all across my desk here.
Yes. So today's question is, dear listeners, you guys have listened to There's Something Different About Her. Do we consider that a romance story? Or a horror story? Or all of the above? So please leave your answer in the comments. I'm going to ask the author and the publisher what they think. Because if the answer is yes, I know what I'm doing next month. Well, we're supposed to do romance stories during the month of February. Nobody ever said they couldn't be horror romance stories. Now, did they?
Well, I'm telling you right now, there's some really good horror romance stories. I'm not a book reader, but thank goodness they make it where they're read.
Yes, audiobooks are the best thing ever, especially when you're trying to cook, or you're dyslexic, or you have ADHD from heck, and you want to listen because it's easier. But that's also why we do the show here, so you can listen. Or you what?
Or you accidentally spilled all over the book and you can't read it no more. And by the way, I wouldn't be shaking that bottle over. Oh, yours is water. My bad.
No, mine is this G4 stuff, the snow cone flavor.
In an A&W root beer bottle.
Well, it used to be cream soda.
All right.
And I drink all the cream soda. Then it was water, and now it's G4s. The thing about recycling is if you wash these, you can use them over and over again. which helps when you need to make sure your husband has like Gatorade for the week because he sweats all the time. So, hello, my lovelies. I hope you are having a blessed end of January, and I hope you have friends surrounding you and you feel loved. How has your January been so far?
Well, my January's pretty much been a padded cell.
Ooh. Yeah. I can understand that.
Well, I did turn a year older, and I'm very happy because my birthday cake said I turned 3 because they broke the 9. So there was never a 39 on there. So I'm 3 this year. A week before my birthday, we found out that one of my actual coworkers and friends passed away unexpectedly, and yeah, it's been buckle your seatbelt and let's see how many times we can roll this over. But here I am. I'm very happy to be here, and
I'm very grateful.
You're always one of the wonderful people that I enjoy being with. So yeah. Plus, we have some very wacky weather that's been going around, and you know, it's just it's been very, very unwanted into. Excuse me, interested. I'm not dealing with that can no more. I'm done with it.
That's why I said get the bottle, man.
I thought about it. But you are absolutely the host of this show, and later on Wednesday of this upcoming week, we actually switch sides.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to meeting her. She's going to be so lovely.
Ah, she is absolutely the queen of the bayou, darling.
We get to meet the voodoo queen on Wednesday. And today, we get to have story time. My month has been filled with trying to find things and figure out stuff. And it's been kind of hard. But we are going to figure it out like we always do because nothing stops us. We always prevail, always find a way. We improvise, adapt, and overcome. And we show our children how to be strong and improvise, adapt, and overcome and be amazing people. Hence why we have things like common sense classes and home ec classes. So, how about we have the story and then have a little bit more conversation after the story? Well, we're going to have the story, do the commercial break, and then come back and talk some more. And then you guys will decide whether or not you want to go search out Deedra Nichole and see why we love her at Fae Corps. Mwah! The Long Night by Deedra Nichole. Like my memories, this cup of coffee tastes bitter. They must keep this room freezing to rush me. The clock on the wall in front of me ticked like a heart beating. The police officer pushed a legal pad towards me, saying to write in my own words what had happened. My hand trembled as I took the pencil and began. My name is Makita Parsons. I swear this to be an accurate account of my days at Crescendo Band Camp, May 10th, 2010. Speeding down a 2-lane mountain pass, traveling under the ominous sky, my anxiety grew as the darkening clouds threatened to overtake me. The past winter had marred the twisting road. The mountainsides housed dead trees that clawed at my Jeep as it rushed by them. The banged up guardrails on each side of the road offered a little reassurance for travelers. A lone squirrel scampered under the guardrails just before mile marker 3, driving past, trying to stay on my side of the road. The Jeep slowed. He was there, a man dressed in a tattered black suit, smoking cigarette. He seemed to be walking beside the guardrail. I can't see his face. Speeding up, trying to hurry past, my stomach clenched as fear threatened to overcome me. Looking in my rearview mirror, my pulse pounded. He had vanished. They need to fix this road. No lines, hardly enough space for one car in the tight turn. I wonder what the man was doing there. I checked the mirror once more and saw only an empty road. Finally, the familiar green and yellow sign for camp came into view, and a smile tugged at my lips. I can't wait to lead the drum workshops. These past 5 years of volunteering had been fun. I dread when Kylie Santos finally steps down as director. She has really put her heart and soul into this camp. Passing an ancient building, bright arrows driven into the ground were pointing onward. Kylie must have placed these arrows to keep traffic moving in the right direction. Black crows scattered as the Jeep jerked, hitting a speed bump. In a field on the right, Cameron was swinging alone with her mother, Ismita Okoro. Watching her from the wooden bench nearby, Ismita finally decided to join us. Carmen will love Edna's piano class. Wonder where they have been assigned to stay. The wind seemed to pick up and the sky became darker. They best get inside before the rain starts. Carmen stopped swinging to join Esmita on the bench, and we waved at each other. Glancing at the horizon, the storm seemed to be building overhead. What is it with the sky? The clouds look like they are bleeding. Edna Pascal's plump face peeked out from behind the old winter curtain. She watched me park before moving away from the window to open the door, scolding me as I approached. I said, "It looks like you've brought everything you own." The 2 suitcases dragging behind me made scratching sounds as they scraped along. "I only brought about half my things this year," I replied. We laughed as I heaved the suitcases with a thud onto the doorstep. Embracing, we were startled as a gust of wind slammed the Jeep's door. It rocked with the force, and the wind seemed to moan. The storm is getting closer. "Edna, I hear we've had some last-minute cancellations. It isn't anything too serious, is it?" Looking at the darkening sky, Edna quickly pulled my bags further into the cabin. "The storm isn't going to wait for us to chat," she said in reply, tossing the bags aside. A flash of lightning streaked across the sky. "Makita, the 4 cancellations are nothing compared to these drops of rain," she shouted as we ran towards my silver Jeep. Carrying bags and boxes is the last thing we wanted to do during the storm. We did our best to hurry as those first drops of rain began to fall. Cameron and Esmita were now running through the field towards the shelter. Why had they stayed outside so long? Bugs creeping out of corners met my hands as I fought to find the wall plug that would give me satisfaction. This laptop is going to take some effort to set up. Look at these old plugins. The password for the camp internet hadn't changed for the last 10 years. It was the first thing Edna had obtained when she started volunteering, and now I'm glad to know that bit of insider knowledge. The connection was grinding away as I tried to check my email inbox. Here are the instructions Carly has left for us in the welcome packet. Edna said, "Looks like it's just us again. Staying in this cabinet," she added, smiling. "I bet I can guess who the head piano instructor again." I replied, tapping my nails against the hardwood desk I was sitting on. "You know it," Edna said, handing me the sheet to read over. Edna pulled my costume out of the dry cleaning bag to hang it next to hers on our small coat rack. Glancing out of the corner of my eye, I noticed Edna dusting off my costume. "Is something wrong with it?" I felt odd as she grimaced. Dust-like particles wafted in the air, and I could smell cheap cigarettes. "Have you taken up smoking?" Edna asked, her brow furrowed. My reply was a swift one. One thing I would never do is smoke, and my nose seemed to bring a concerned look at Edna's face. "I wonder how this outfit ended up with cigarette ash all over it." "I could have sworn you were the only one who has used it last year." "I was the only one to use it. There is no way it should have anything wrong with it. I had it dry cleaned," I said, looking away from the laptop to get a better look at the outfit. "Maybe someone borrowed it in the off season," Edna said with a shrug, and my mind drifted back to the man I'd seen earlier. Why couldn't I see his face? My laptop pinged as the email sprung into my inbox. "You've got mail," Edna joked as she started rummaging through the fridge. "I have an email from Kylie here. She said she doesn't want any more drama, and all the complaints should be addressed to her only," I said as I reached to take the drink Edna offered me, and noticed flies buzzing around the window. We had a few glitches, nothing big really. Kylie did scream at me during the setup. "Seems I am a horrible volunteer and dragging her aura down because the grand piano is broke and I can't tune it," Edna said, then giggled while making a swirling motion in the air with her finger. "Are you joking?" "No, unfortunately, I am not joking. One of the grand pianos needs new inner parts and I'm not able to fix it," Edna responded as she reached for the fly swat. "What is it with this year with these bugs?" I asked, watching her kill a dozen flies with one swat. "Beats me. It has been awful these past 2 days. Seems to be getting worse," Edna said, taking another dozen flies with another swat. "That doesn't sound like Kylie, really. I wonder what has gotten into her. The piano breaking happened end of last camp, didn't it?" My drink made a hissing sound as the tab popped and a fly buzzed by my head. "Yes, it had been broken since the last day. I still can't understand what caused it. One moment Tony is playing, and then it made a horrible noise. When we looked at it, it had claw marks all inside it, and no sign of an animal. Kylie took pictures of the damage. She must be under a lot of stress, or she wouldn't have screamed in front of everyone in the orchestra hall over it." Edna took a seat on the bed trying to relax. "I'm so sorry she has been so nasty. Maybe she will calm down once we get the program going," I replied, trying to comfort her. We can hope." "Makita, have you noticed all these bugs? I can't believe how bad they are this year." Edna crushed a spider with her rolled up newspaper and flicked it in our trash bin. "Yeah, they seem aggressive too. I think that fly stung my arm. You should have kept the fly swatter out," I replied. "Are you okay?" Edna asked as she leaned to retrieve the first aid kit beside the bed. "I will be. Looks like I need to put some cream on it, though. I hate bugs. We best hurry because it's almost time to go eat," Edna said, looking at the small travel clock sitting next to her. "Come on, Edna. We don't want to be late, and bring the aura down." Edna pulled the door shut and laughed. "Hey, now, Makita, what is all the drama you got going on here?" came Edna's witty reply. We laughed as we walked under our umbrellas down the small hill towards the dining hall. "I will introduce you to Asmita and Carmen, when we get inside, I am sure they are already in line for chow. I pointed them out and made introductions as we stood in the buffet line. After the meal, Carmen sat silently engrossed in her mother's tablet, playing a game and didn't acknowledge us. Esmita seemed tired and out of sorts. Paul just phoned and said another of our goats had died. I'd hoped they all would live this time. Carmen needed some new clothing, and I was counting on the sale to pay for it. As Misa confided in me, I am so sorry. Hang in there. I'm sure things will pick up. I can help you get a few things for her if you don't mind. I tried to uplift her spirits as we chatted. No, I don't. I couldn't repay you. Thank you anyway, Makita. It's very kind of you, Esmita said. So, Esmita, about my new workshop helper here, Edna said, strolling up to us. Cameron is our rainbow baby, our precious gift from God. You should hear her play piano, Esmita gushed as she petted Carmen's raven black hair. I am sure she will enjoy being here with us this year. I hope you both are enjoying the rooms that are attached to the opera wing, Edna replied, trying to ignore the buzz of the flies that filled each window in the dining hall. Oh, it is all she has spoken of these last few days, Amita said in a chipper tone. It's hardly looked like Cameron cared about the camp experience. She seemed less than excited about playing for Edna in the morning than what her mother could have everyone believe. Does the poor child even enjoy the piano? My thoughts were cut short by the sounds of thuds hitting against the windows and the buzzings of the angry flies. I can't stand these nasty flies. I just can't believe they have all gathered here in the camp. My house is just over the next hillside and we don't have any at all. A plump lady in her 50s said, as she kept swatting the windows with her shoe. Now, dear, you know you can't kill them all like that. Why don't we go look for some fly spray and strips to hang up? The equally plump man said as he patted her shoulder. They continued their chatting as they made their way past us. I felt like under all the nice banter something was wrong. It was so strange to see so many flies and the way some ignored them like they couldn't even see the windows full of black dancing pests. My body tensed as I watched the storm clouds drifting like a red background that the flies seemed to fight to touch. I feel sick watching those flies. Maybe we should have ate somewhere else tonight. The infestation was more than the small bump in the program. It felt as though something was trying to tell us just to leave. Death was here and the flies knew it. A chill crept up my spine as I looked over the dining hall and those in it. I should just run away and not look back. Something is so wrong here. I could be packed up and halfway home before midnight. I shook off the urge to leave as I watched the others checking tomorrow's schedule. I can't leave. They are all relying on me. Mom, is there someone in the garden? Carmen said, having glanced up from her game to look out the double glass doors. No, I don't see anyone. Maybe it was an animal, sweetie? It's dusk now and they will be traveling. Esmita replied, trying to soothe her daughter, who was a bit shaken by whatever she thought she'd glanced behind the sea of flies. Edna reached for my arm. She nodded towards the window facing the rose garden closest to us. I turned to look, and something was glowing red, which then vanished in the darkness. I wish we had not agreed to stay so far from the dining hall. The walk back would be a pitch black. I will not be volunteering here ever again. Even the best places have unwanted guests. We pushed the doors open, letting out a swarm of black buzzing pests to float away into the drizzle of raindrops. Under our umbrellas, arms linked, flashlights blazing, Edna and I took off at a quick pace, heading to the small hill. Didn't look at the center of the garden. Don't look at the center of the garden, just keep walking, Edna said to me as we hurried to our cabin. I still can't believe Esmeda blushed off the child's fears. It's like she doesn't believe evil can take a real form, I said as we crashed through the doorway, slamming the door while quickly locking it behind us. Cameron said it looked like a person with glowing red eyes. I can't see why her mom brushed her off. I can see why her mom brushed her off. We looked at the door. We just bolted behind us and shuddered. In the distance, a dog could be heard howling. Without warning, music began to play. We looked around the room, but we were alone. No one had been near the cabin, and the sound of what we thought to be a cell phone ringing caused us to panic. Where there is a phone ringing, there must be someone to answer it, Edna said, shaking in fear. No, maybe someone forgot their phone in one of the cars outside. It might not be in our room. I forced myself to laugh, trying to brush off the sound. The music stopped, and we couldn't hear anyone outside. Managing to calm ourselves, we took turns taking our showers and getting ready for bed. Edna grabbed a few snacks before saying, "Did you see the new handsome flute player? I love blondes, don't you?" Suddenly, Edna screamed. Her hands flew up to the point of the window just above the sea of black flies. Something was glowing red again. The floor felt cold and hard as my bottom hit it. I was shaking as I grabbed Edna's arm and pulled her down beside me. Edna slid down quickly beside me and sat shaking too. "There is something out there," Edna whispered in a choked voice as we held hands and started praying. We tried to bolster our courage. We knew our cell phones didn't have signal, and the one phone Camp provided was dead because we all checked it earlier. "Edna, I doubt locked doors work against whatever that creature is." My voice sounded raspy as I spoke. Edna whimpered and I took a deep breath. She will not like my next suggestion at all. As we sat, hands clasped and praying, thinking in turns, the music started and stopped again. It sounded like it was in the room with us. We both became frantic, sliding through the floor, trying to hide in the corner next to my bed. I peeped out the window to see if the red glow was still there. The black flies danced in protest of the curtain moving. Once it had vanished, we managed to force ourselves to get up. Finding no source for the music, we put blankets and pillows on the floor next to my bed and sat down once more. I hate to say this, but I think that was a demon, I said to Edna. I agree with you. It would make what has been happening here make more sense. Kylie's odd behavior and all these flies. The mysterious breaking of the piano. The ashes on our costume. Tonight, it is as if a gateway had been opened, Edna replied, moving closer to me. The music started again, causing us both to jump. Neither of us bothered to move this time, knowing we had already searched and there was nothing to find. We sat and looked at the main door, glad we thought to lock it, every door and window. It was 3 a.m. when the music finally stopped for good. We managed to both fall asleep and didn't wake until the alarm went off. And no, I didn't want to go out there. Why didn't I just leave when the urge was on me? I must be a glutton for punishment. 500 children today, and glowing red demon that has a ringing tone and dancing flies. God, please keep us all safe. Please. The door was between us and the outside world. Even as we pulled back the curtains to peep to see what the day looked like, and Edna and I both knew the door had to be opened. Do you think it was just our nerves? What do you think, Edna? Has our nerves ever caused anything like before? I replied, trying to stay calm. I wish you'd just said yes, Edna replied, looking pale as we hurried to get into the costume for the day. Looking at each other, we slowly moved to the door. This is silly. It is broad daylight and the rain has even passed us by. Demons won't come out in the daytime. I stood trying to sound sure of myself as I unlocked the door and pulled it open. I won't say different. Let's just get to the dining hall. I will feel better when we are around other people, Edna said, twisting her sheet music in her hands. The walk to breakfast was tense, and we jumped when Carmen came running up behind us. She smiled as she went past. Did we dream the last night's horrors? Maybe it was all just stress, trying to shake off the feelings of dread. We quickly entered the dining hall. Good morning, ladies! Kylie's voice rang out in the greeting as we walked towards the buffet. Good morning, Kylie. We both replied, smiling at her. The three of us moved down the table, filling our plates with food, trying to keep flies from landing on it. The dishes sat covered in hot steam rising from each lid. The clanging of the metal lids, the tongs, sounded like battle had broken out. These flies were really getting to me. Hey, Kylie, did anyone mention losing their cell phone near our cabin? I ventured to ask as we sat on the table next to the buffet. No, did you find one? Kylie replied. No, I just thought I heard one last night. It went off a lot, kept Edna and I awake most of the night. My reply seemed to agitate Kylie, and I gave it no notice. Edna gave me a strange look and shook her head as I asked a couple who joined us, and they had heard a strange cell phone ringing. None of the volunteers at our table had heard it, and they seemed amused at my story. Edna gave me another strange look and shook her head again in warning. Without realizing it, I had caused Kylie to become agitated. Makita, why don't you leave the drama at home? This program doesn't need it. Kylie snapped as she shot me a nasty look. The room seemed to fill with tension, and we sat silently finishing our food. Makita, what on earth were you thinking? Edna grabbed my arm and whispered under her breath to me as we made our way to the first workshop of the day. I just thought someone must have left their cell phone or had been playing a prank on us. We didn't see anything more than red glow, and it could have been one of the special spotlights. And I wanted to miss what happened last night, I said, trying to keep my voice low. You think it was someone playing a prank? I really wish I could think that, but Makita, it is just too strange. Edna looked pale as we made our way over to the small hill to lead to the ancient stone buildings. Black crows seemed to fill the sky as they leapt from the ground. We disturbed their morning gathering as we took a shortcut through the field. Do you know what they call a group of crows? A man's deep voice said from behind us. We stopped and turned to look at and saw a man, a shabby dressed man smoking a cigarette, was right behind us. His disheveled hair and was black as coal and gleamed in the bright sunlight. The smoke hung heavy in the air. Why can't I see your face? Who are you? I asked. Murder. That is what the gathering of crows is called. And replied, her voice shaking. The man made no answer and stood smoking like a volcano. The sun seemed to be so much brighter than his form. The crows danced in flight weaving around us and going up. My breath caught in my throat as I looked at the smoke that still hid his face. We could be seen by anyone in the middle of the field, but not clearly with so many crows swirling around us. It felt like time had stopped. Makita Parsons, I believe you saw me yesterday as I walked the roadway. The man's voice sounded thick and sweet like honey. He stood like a statue in the field, cool and steady. The smoke started to drift from in front of his face. Edna whimpered and grabbed my arm. I believe I did, I said, shocking myself with how even my voice sounded. His skin was like alabaster and his nails looked well manicured for a bum. Your clothing doesn't match your person. I found myself saying as more of the thick smoke wafted away. I can almost see his face now. Makita, I refuse to let you flirt with death. Let's make a run for it, Edna blurted. He stood there, smiling at us. His dark molasses-colored eyes seemed out of place in his alabaster white face. Death is handsome. The crows seemed to stop, hanging like stars in the night sky. Everything was quiet and still as we stood looking at him. His smile showed even white teeth, which shocked me. He smelled of cheap cigarettes, sounding like thunder drums beating ripped through the hair. The crows scattered with a blink at the now blinding sunlight that blasted us. Death was gone. Makita, did that really happen? Edna whispered. I just shrugged and motioned for her to keep moving. The day slowly went by. We found ourselves dodging death and walking on pins and needles around Kylie. It was our last day, and the showdown was unavoidable. I don't appreciate you praying against me, Kylie screamed. What are you talking about? Edna made the mistake of asking. You both know what I'm talking about. You think I don't know? Kylie raged once more. Then her eyes closed red. The music started to play as a mysterious unknown cell phone rang again. Kylie's eyes seemed to return to normal as she said, You'll want to answer that. Then we hurried inside the cabin, glad she had walked away from us. We packed quickly and cleaned the rooms. We both knew our time at camp was over. It had been 4 years now, and we had both moved on. Neither of us returned to the CBC to help with workshops. I have refused to answer Kylie's emails. The last one was May 3rd, 2014. And it seemed all like the others. She was once more asking for volunteers to come help at camp. I deleted it. You can see it in my trash folder. It was hard to believe that the dead body of Kylie Santos was found horribly decomposed. Questions have surfaced about who was running the CBC. It couldn't have been Kylie. She had been dead the whole time, her cell phone held tight in her hand. The ringtone was a music score, the same one we had heard in our cabin in 2010. Edna and I can't explain what had happened the last time we volunteered. The police investigation that was underway had brought me here today to give a statement. I can't shake the feeling that something evil had been loosed on the camp. Earlier that same day. You can't tell me we saw a demon, Edna said to me. I know that. I know we can't make anyone believe what we saw. I can't believe Esmita is lying about it. She spent so much time with Kylie these last 4 years. How can she bold-faced lie and say Kylie never was there that year and that she had never met her? I tugged one of my cornrow braids in frustration as I spoke. Are you going to the memorial service? Edna asked, her voice betraying her fear. Yes, I think we need to go. We were once Kylie's friends. You're right. I hate to admit it because I am scared of the thing that is still out there. Edna stood holding her clasped hands in front of her face as tears filled from her eyes. Whatever happens, we must have faith in God is with us. We can't let fear stop us from doing what he would have us do, I said as I placed my hands on Edna's shoulder, trying to comfort her. Amen, Edna whispered. With discovery of Kylie's body, CBC was thrown into turmoil. Questions had to be answered. How could any of them say that Kylie was working there with them for the past 4 years? Her decomposed body told a very different story. Laying just opposite of the guardrail down the steep hill near a mile marker 3, Kylie had been ripped apart with her hand left clinging her phone. She would have never found a rock been found if a rock hadn't crushed the guardrail, causing it to need to be replaced. Without any choice, the workers had to grub out the hillside safety and restore it. Kylie didn't show up for the board meeting that day, but her dead body did show up in the morgue. The church was packed as Makita and Edna made their way to light the candle next to Kylie's photograph. The church was beautiful with all the flowers and candles. Over 100 people, shocked and confused, came to pay their respects. Makita could see Esmita encouraging Carmen to play the piano for everyone there. Go on, Carmen, and play. Kylie loved you best, and you know she would be pleased to have you play for us, Esmita said, scolding Carmen for hesitating to indulge the crowd. It doesn't seem right. Kylie is dead, and I shouldn't distract them from her memorial services. Carmen replied, looking upset with her mother. Go on, Esmita hissed, shoving Carmen towards the piano. Makita caught sight of the red glow forming in Esmita's eyes. She grabbed Edna's arms, giving it a squeeze. Edna, too, saw the light. Both women quickly backed away and hid in the cloud. We must get out of here now, Makita said, as she tried to stop the rising panic inside. Something is wrong, Makita, Edna started to say. Kylie's photograph was sitting in a sea of lit candles. Sound of piano playing sadly could be heard coming from inside the church. A man dressed in black with pale skin and bloodshot eyes took a long draw on his cigarette as he stood waiting next to a silver Jeep. The end.
Well,
Hi, Stephen.
Yeah, he said she's reading. I don't want to interrupt her.
Yes. Here,
This
let's
actually
go ahead
sound
and do
nice.
the let's do the commercial break so I don't forget, because I do that a lot. And then we will talk.
All right.
Greetings and shabebans. We are the Retro Reductopus Cephala Podcast, a long-form bi-weekly show that celebrates all the things that made growing up awesome.
Well, that sounds good, but I don't know what all those words mean.
I think what Parasite Steve's trying to say is that on Retro Redoctopus, we explore a range of retro goodness, from toys, video games, and movies, to cartoons, and even snacks and school lunches.
Oh.
And we do it all with a positive spin, a slew of killer guests, and some very adult language.
And you know what else is cool?
No.
This crazy show is part of the Door King Podcast Network with new episodes every Tentacle Tuesday.
What's that?
And if waiting 2 weeks for a new episode gives you a sad, know that we drop bonus episodes all the time, like the off-format Crow's Nest and an interview series we call The Brig.
You can listen to Retro Redoctopus on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or any app that's cool enough to carry the only show that celebrates all the things that make growing up awesome.
Hello. We're back.
We are back. Oh boy. So let me just tell you, I like good stories like that. I really do. In my personal opinion is it's really hard in today's society to go through and figure out how you are going to make it where they are alone and they can't get contact with anybody. And it just seems like the number one way is there's no reception.
Yeah.
It really is. It's one of those things that if you're going to try getting them from calling for help, no reception is almost the only way you can do it.
Yeah.
And it is hard. But you know
And
what? They make it
it
work.
made sense. Because if I'm not mistaken, it sounded like they were on a mountain.
Right?
And mountains are notorious for not having signal.
Right. But there's always that one person that's going to look at it and go, no reception. But it's just one of those really hard things of trying to figure out how you can't get a hold of people. In today's society, it's really, really hard to think of something because we stay so connected with each other.
Yes.
But you know what? I really did like that book, and that story was a really good story.
Oh, yeah. I hope it will give people a reason to want to go check out Deedra.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because more people need to find Deidre stuff and read her stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And, even if you've just heard one story, and even if it's a story that's just like not the biggest story that you're like, give the rest of the stories a try. Because like they say, never judge a book by its cover. Every single story has something different. And, this story, just like every other story, has something different.
Yeah. Yes, readers. Well, listeners, I should say. What has been your favorite story that we've read on Corpse Garden Chronicles Reads? And if you want to go find them, you can find a lot of them under epitaphs and just the single shows that are just straight out hey, I'm going to read a story, find Corpse Garden reads. And those are a story with some conversation as well. What did you think of how she portrayed Old Scratch?
I liked it.
You liked it?
I did like it. It's one of those things that, you know, when you're portraying something, it's hard sometimes to get details out, and I liked how she did it.
Because unfortunately, it never occurred to her he was trying to tell her something important before she got there. And it didn't occur to her after the thing that she needed to go back and look where he was trying to show her to look.
Yeah, well, sometimes when you encounter a character or something like that, sometimes you just want to go away from that character.
Yeah. Whereas he was trying to explain to her, hey, that's not her. And even though he couldn't come out and say it. And yeah, I love that. That is so much. There are things to explore in that story, like why didn't they realized it was death, but why didn't they go back and look where he tried to get them to look, where he tried to tell her, hey. And at the end of the story, it makes you think, okay, is he going to try to show her where Esmita is, or is he going to, well, is she about to die?
Mm-hmm.
And the whole band cap thing, that was cool. Being in a camp situation without, well, a slasher. That was really cool. And it was still a horror story.
I mean, I'm not going to say that not having a slasher is a good thing or a bad thing.
Well, we all know who my favorite slasher is. Everybody in Corpse Garden Chronicles should know by now who my favorite slasher is.
And
but,
it's not me.
No. Dude, he has two movies that I've been able to buy, and he's been on here quite a lot. And we also give him his own special episodes once a year. So, yeah. Oi. So.
I've not heard oi in so long.
Well, we've reached that time of year where I'm starting to mourn, where their deaths has happened. You know? And we're getting back to their the anniversary of their deaths, and I have things that they said go through my head randomly, and he would say oi a lot. Or that stupid joke, let's talk about something happy like leprosy, you know, that sort of thing. So, yeah.
For my grandfather, it was always, you know, what a guy should have done was, and when he says that, I always remember him saying that and me thinking, well, why in the heck didn't the guy do it? Because you were the guy.
You want to know why? Because he didn't think about it until after he'd already done the other thing, you know? It's one of those, hindsight is 20/20. And he's trying, in the best way he could, he was trying to teach you how to critically think. Well, this happened. I didn't do that, but I should have done that. In his way, he was trying to help you learn how to critically think. But he probably never thought about it being, hey, I'm trying to help him learn common sense or other things like that. You know, something along those lines. So it was his way of teaching you.
Well, he also taught me that not every project needs to be completed. In fact, I don't think a single project was ever completed.
Well, some products don't need to be completed. Some do. It all depends on the project. Some projects you just look at and think, I don't think I can do this. I need to find somebody else to, or I need to walk away and never look at it again.
Well, he walked away, all right. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to walk back.
Unfortunately,
But,
yes.
It's okay, because cheers to him and cheers to your loved ones. And
Ditto.
we are the keepers of the stories, and we are
Oh,
the
yeah.
ones that will always remember the good, the bad, the beautiful, and the things that look like my face. Ugly.
You're not ugly. You're very cuddly.
Cuddly, maybe, but very ugly.
It never occurred to me to call you ugly.
Well,
Furry, cuddly, odd, fun, but not ugly.
odd. We'll play that odd.
I am very odd. Dude, I have a show called Corpse Garden Chronicles.
Nope, that's not odd.
Okay,
Odd
I guess
is right before we start a show, pouring pop all down your computer table.
so. We're having to clean out the closet to get ready for things, and somebody hit my drink, and I cried. I cried a lot.
That looks like a piece of equipment.
Yeah, it was a very important piece of equipment.
And let me just tell you right now, speaking of equipment, I'm missing bits and pieces of my equipments. But I'm hoping that Nightmare Studio will have a nice shelf, or maybe 3, that I can make sure that my equipment doesn't walk away from me.
Yeah, I hope it doesn't. And those who do, may they find poison oak and then have to go pee.
You just made me think of that entire conversation we had earlier about airing out our dirty laundry.
Yes, but probably that's mean. Tell them to go to not know you have poison oak on your hands, then go pee and then realize now you not only have poison oak on your hands, you have poison oak on other parts.
Yep.
Okay, we are huh?
Always remember where you pee. That way, if you got an itch, you can go back and search.
Yep. So, okay, we're reaching our hour point. Where do you want people to find you?
Oh boy, I want you to find me, and I really want you to find me here on the Al Lighten Network. And when I say that, every other Wednesday for Chainer's Haunted Secrets, where I will be on that side.
And I get to be on that side.
No, you get to be on this side.
But isn't that where I pointed? Okay, I get to be on that side.
Yeah.
Here's the problem, figuring out which way is the right way to point.
Are you looking at the little screens on the bottom?
No, I'm not.
I'm just saying. Could possibly be there.
Either way, you can find me at Allight Network. You can find me at Fae Corps. You can find me at Jennifer Elliott, my author page, and Friday with the Library in the Blue Box, and a whole bunch of other places that you will probably find me but not know it's me. Okay, guys, please remember, it's okay to mourn them even after they've been gone for 25 years. It doesn't matter. There will be days where it's all fine. It's all great. And there'll be a day that happens where it feels like it just happened 25 minutes ago and all you do is cry. And that's fine. That's how grief works. And please, also, don't stop reading horror stories. Ever. Find new ones. And we will share them. But next month, in February, we're going to share not only romance, but romance horror.
I can't wait until next month.
You can't?
Nope.
That's going to be fun, huh?
You have no idea. There will be. I'm sure there's going to be a camera.
Okay.
I'm just telling you.
Well, I hope those who get to go see it in person will enjoy it because it's going to be epic. It's going to be the most epic thing ever.
Opinionated, but I will tell you right now. I can't wait because it's been a dream come true.
I so want to see this.
I'm sure you will.
Okay. Good night, everybody.
Good night.